Gerard Manley Hopkins' God's Grandeur is a reflective and celebratory sonnet that examines the omnipresence of God's power and beauty in the natural world. The poem opens with a bold assertion of God's grandeur, which Hopkins describes as a luminous force that permeates creation. This grandeur is not fleeting but enduring, highlighting God's eternal presence in the universe. The image of divine power. Hopkins begins with an image of God's grandeur bursting forth like a flame and shining like shook foil. These similes evoke the brilliance and energy of divine power, suggesting that God's presence is dynamic, radiant, and all-encompassing. This vivid imagery emphasizes the splendor of creation and God's intimate connection to it. The generative force of God's grandeur. Hopkins likens God's grandeur to an unending source of vitality, describing it as something that gathers and overflows. This generative quality reflects the poet's belief in God's creative energy, which continuously sustains and renews the natural world. The language underscores the idea that God's presence is not static but active and transformative. Humanity's estrangement from nature. The poem shifts to a critique of humanity's relationship with the natural world. Hopkins laments that humans have become disconnected from nature due to their relentless pursuit of material gain. He uses phrases like, seared with trade, and smeared with toil, to convey the degradation caused by industrialization and exploitation. These lines reflect his concern for the loss of harmony between humanity and the divine. The consequences of human actions. Hopkins highlights the environmental and spiritual consequences of human activity, suggesting that industrialization has dulled humanity's sensitivity to the sacredness of nature. He describes a smudge that mars the natural world, symbolizing pollution and corruption. This imagery serves as a warning against the consequences of prioritizing commerce and industry over reverence for God's creation. Nature's resilience. Despite humanity's destructive tendencies, Hopkins finds solace in the resilience of nature. He asserts that nature, sustained by God's grandeur, continues to regenerate and thrive. Phrases like, "The soil is bare now, nor can foot feel being shod," suggest a temporary disconnection from nature, but the poet remains hopeful that this connection can be restored. The Holy Spirit's role in renewal. The poem's Volta, turn, introduces a sense of renewal and hope, emphasizing the perpetual presence of the Holy Spirit. Hopkins describes the Holy Spirit as a nurturing force that broods with warm breast and with awe. Bright wings. This maternal image conveys the Spirit's role in protecting and revitalizing creation, ensuring that God's grandeur remains evident. The perpetual dawn of God's grace. Hopkins marvels at the continual renewal of the natural world, likening it to the daily rebirth of light at dawn. This cyclical process symbolizes God's infinite grace, which cannot be extinguished by human wrongdoing. The poet celebrates this resilience, affirming his faith in the divine power that sustains life. Faith amidst human flaws. Through his reflections, Hopkins underscores the tension between humanity's flaws and God's perfection. While humans often fail to honor the natural world, God's grandeur persists as an unyielding force. This duality invites readers to reflect on their relationship with nature and God, encouraging a renewed sense of reverence and responsibility. God's grandeur concludes as a powerful affirmation of God's enduring presence and the resilience of creation. Hopkins' use of rich imagery, rhythmic language, and profound theological insight makes the poem a timeless meditation on the relationship between humanity, nature, and the divine. By contrasting human frailty with the majesty of God's grandeur, Hopkins invites readers to find hope and inspiration in the divine power that permeates all aspects of life.